Okay. Well, let me just start. Representative Frank, I think, recently proposed a 25% cut in military budget. So I want to start there. Is it irresponsible? Well, you know what my answer is going to be, but let's consider the reasoning of it. First of all, just some of the basic facts that you've already heard of, just reorganizing a bit. That the 2008 Pentagon budget was $624 billion. That's 4.3% of U.S. GDP. If we did what Representative Frank proposed, that would bring it down in 2008 to $480 billion, which is 3.3% of GDP. Now, if you made that cut, as you can see, you would still be at a level of military spending as a share of the economy that is larger than it was in the year 2000. Now, the way you get that trick is, of course, that under Bush, we've been building up the military to an extraordinary degree, much faster than the rest of the economy. So if we want to make the argument that it is completely irresponsible to run a military at the level that Representative Frank has proposed, that you have to answer to the fact that we were already running the military on a smaller level only 8 years ago.
Can I just ask, does that include the Iraq War money or not?
Yes. Now, just for some simple scalers, $480 billion is 30% larger than the entire GDP of Sweden, which is a country that runs at a very high standard of living. It's 6 times more than federal spending on education, training, and research. Okay, now here's the crux of what I want to get at. One of the arguments, aside from the strictly military strategic ones as regards supporting the military budget, is that, well, we need the military for the economy. We need it to enhance economic growth. Without the military, we're going to lose jobs. Okay, now, this argument has various strands of history, and I want to give you a little tiny snippet of intellectual history here because it's actually quite interesting. I would say one of the classic books in economics coming from the left in the 1960s was Monopoly Capital by Paul Baran and Paul Sweezy. And the argument was advanced quite forcefully in Baran and Sweezy's book that, yes, we need a big military to maintain a functioning, growing capitalist system that will not revert back to a 1930s level depression. So that was Baran and Sweezy in the 1960s. Now let's jump forward 40 years. There's a book by a recently deceased, quite distinguished mainstream economist at the University of Minnesota named Vernon Rutan, and the book is titled, provocatively, "Is War Necessary for Economic Growth?" And guess what? His answer is yes. Now, the point is, he was not saying that war itself was necessary for economic growth, but spending for the military was necessary for economic growth for the reasons that we frequently hear. Number one, that it promotes jobs, and moreover, decent jobs, good job opportunities. And number two, that it advances our technological capacities. And of course, there's no disputing the fact that without the military, there would be probably no jet airplane, certainly no internet. Now, on the other hand, we have a position long developed by probably the most distinguished author writing in this area, Seymour Melman, books called Pentagon Capitalism, 1970, Demilitarized Society, 1998, saying that, look, we need government intervention in the economy to promote jobs, to promote technological advance, but it doesn't have to come from the military. Okay, and so you have this debate going back and forth as to the degree to which militarism itself is necessary for achieving these economic benefits. And this argument has come up again quite prominently in the midst of our current severe recession as to whether the New Deal accomplished anything in fighting the depression of the 30s, and rather that what was actually the intervention that got us out of the 30s depression was to World War II. So World War II ended the Depression. Therefore, that suggests, yes, we do need militarism to keep the economy going. We don't happen to be in a severe recession now. Therefore, we need militarism. Okay, I want to characterize these arguments very quickly because we have to sort some things out. These arguments are actually operating at cross purposes. Now, the point of what Baran and Sweezy are really talking about is not that you need militarism per se, but that you need massive levels of government intervention. It doesn't have to come from the military. The point of Baran and Sweezy was it can only come from the military because that's the only vehicle that can get an adequate level of political support to promote the job creation effects and the industrial policy effects. But what we rather need is, to put it more clearly, we do need public spending, we do need industrial policy, we need it both to promote employment and to promote technological advance, but it does not have to come from the military. Now, what about the issue with respect to the Depression? This argument that the New Deal failed for a decade and then we got out of the Depression because of World War II. I actually think that there's some merit in that argument, but we are missing the key point. The key point was that what got us out of the Depression was the massive levels of government spending, deficit spending, which was unpopular, and Roosevelt could not mount a sufficient level of domestic spending to counteract the private sector collapse until the war. So it wasn't war spending per se, it was big government spending per se. Okay, so right now, in the midst of our recession, yes, we need industrial policies. We don't need them for the military. We need them to rebuild manufacturing, to do green manufacturing. And by the way, the green myths article I was criticizing. Some of you criticized me, they were calling it green myth. So that was my paper. We need public infrastructure spending. It does not have to be for the military. And in fact, the less that is devoted to the military, as we've heard already, the better it will be because that is a more effective use of ways to promote economic growth. Employment expansion. I'm going to show you some data now. I'm an economist. I've got to show you some data. Charts, Okay. Look, yes, if you spend $600 billion on anything, public, private, mixed, you're going to get a lot of jobs. So the real question is, do you get relatively more jobs by spending on the military versus something else? Okay, here's the outcome. And these figures come right from U.S. government data sources, the Department of Commerce input, so-called input-output table. And as you can see, I hope you can read it, military spending actually doesn't do very well. This is job creation for spending $1 million. Military spending will get you 11 jobs for 1 million. There is one sector of the economy that does worse. Fossil fuels. Drill, baby, drill. Drill, baby, drill gets you 5.3 jobs. Green investments, which I actually support quite strongly and been working on a lot, get you about 17 jobs. Education gets you 23 jobs. So the argument is not that militarism is necessary to create jobs. Any kind of government spending in a recession will create jobs, and militarism is perhaps the most inefficient or next to the most inefficient. So overall then, cutting the military now is good for the economy. We can get much stronger employment effects through domestic spending initiatives. In terms of infrastructure and public investments, what we desperately need now is to convert to a green economy and to promote Detroit, among other things, through green investments. And militarism is not the way that we're going to get there. Thank you very much.